Welcome to another episode of Strug-Free Cocktails, where I struggle so you don't have to. Today we are going to make the Penicillin. Okay, everyone freaks out about the name of this cocktail. They're like, oh, penicillin, oh, scotch. Okay, it's not that scary. Actually, this drink is my sister's favorite drink. I was trying to think of a funny story that related to my sister, penicillin, and one of the ingredients in the penicillin reminded me of a story from when my sister and I were little. So my sister was like 6 years old, and the movie Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan, a classic just like the penicillin, had just come out. That day, I was going with my dad to go look at new cars, and he asked me to like test drive the cars with him. It was very exciting, but my sister was not invited. I don't know if she like did something wrong. She probably did, or what. But she was pissed, and she was really mad that I was going to test drive the car and she wasn't allowed to come. So that night, after we had test driven the car, I went home, got ready for bed, realized I didn't brush my teeth, so I got out of bed on the other side and stepped into a puddle, a mound of honey all over my floor. And I freaked out and like called my mom or whatever, and we were like, okay, clearly this is Rachel. Like, she's seen Parent Trap like 20 times. It was literally straight out from the movie. She denied it, and then we found the honey in her, like a jar of honey hid in her closet. So Rachel, this one goes out to you. What is in a penicillin? One of the kind of main things that's in the penicillin is a ginger honey. So that's what made me think of that story. Basically, the way that you make the ginger honey is you make the base like a honey water. I use a little bit less actual water to make it a little bit stickier. And then I use about 4 ounces of ginger juice. You can get ginger juice, like those ginger shots, at like Juice Generation or any of those bajillions of juice places. The one that I got had cayenne in it, which I actually prefer because it makes this syrup a little spicier, and you want some kind of heat in the ginger syrup. The other ingredients that are in this cocktail is lemon juice and scotch. Scotch is sort of a complicated liquor. Scotch is whiskey from Scotland, and there's single malt scotch and blended malt scotch. Scotch is mostly made out of malted barley. Single malt scotch comes from one distillery, and blended malt scotch comes from multiple distilleries. There are like Highlands and Lowlands and Speyside, but like, let's stop there because I'm gonna start sounding really dumb if I keep going into it. In this cocktail, I'm using Japanese whiskey. So I know I just talked about scotch for like 5 minutes. Japanese whiskey is made in the style of scotch, but you can't call it scotch because it's made in Japan. That's about as much as I'm going to say about Japanese whiskey. Maybe we'll do a class later. But I really like this Suntory Japanese whiskey because it's basically very similar to a blended malt scotch. It's really clean and just works really well in this cocktail. And then you're also going to use a single malt scotch. So think, I'm using a blended malt and a single malt. You want something a little smoky, super peaty. This one is not as peaty as something like Lafroig, which is, Lafroig? How do you even say Lafroig? Lafroig? Lafrog? It's Lafroig, right? Whatever, I'm not Scottish. Lafroig is like the typical scotch that you'll use, but it's like $90, and Strug-Free Cocktails is on a budget, so I'm using this girl. Let's just stop talking about scotch. Let's make this drink. Where are you from? Oh, Scotland. You must be Scotch. What? Where are you from? Oh, Japan. I should have known by the Japanness of the letters. Lemon juice. Fresh squeezed from my hand. Homemade ginger honey syrup with fresh ginger juice, cayenne, and local honey. This is this. Okay, so let's make this. So we're gonna use 2 ounces of our Suntory or your blended scotch, and then 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, and 3/4 of an ounce of your ginger honey. And we're gonna hold off on your single malt scotch. Just you wait, Henry Higgins. Fill this puppy up with some ice. Okay? Whoa. My jigger just moved like a ghost. And shake. We're gonna strain it over a large ice cube. And then this is what I'm doing a little different. This is what we do at my new bar. So typically you're gonna do a little float of your single malt scotch, something like the Lefroy, the smokier scotch. But I am going to do a little spray, so you just get the aromatics and you're not hit with just a smoke bomb. I've had penicillins before where like literally all you taste is the scotch and you can't taste the rest of the drink. And you know, what's the point in that? So we're gonna do a little spritzy spritz, some spray. The aromatics. I always feel like a smoky scotch. I don't know, there's some kind of memory associated with that smell, like the cedar, like the barley. I'm just like, oh, I'm in a cabin. I'm gonna try this. It's perfect. Oh my gosh, I love this drink. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna stop being afraid of the word penicillin because it's not a scary drink. I know you guys are all scared to order it. Don't be scared. Also, let's try not to be afraid of scotch. Scotch is not so scary. Not all scotches taste super smoky. Not all scotches are created equal. Also, Japanese whiskey is thebomb.com. Like, if you have any like literally I've never tried a Japanese whiskey I didn't like. I mean, maybe there are bad ones out there and I just haven't tried them. I feel so much better now that I've had this. Like, it's like I'm antibiotic with penicillins. Anyways, what are you waiting for? Go make yourself a cocktail. Go try a penicillin at a bar. If they have it on the menu, if they don't have ginger syrup, don't order one. I'm gonna stop talking. Have a Strug-Free day. Bye. The aromatics.